back here for probably this.
Welcome to KD Day here in Houston. I'm Jason Bristol in the KHOU 11 newsroom as we are breaking down this reported trade involving the Houston Rockets and the Phoenix Suns. It is a blockbuster. Sources reporting a couple of hours ago, first to have it ESPN, Kevin Durant coming to Houston in exchange for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks. The Rockets' number 10 overall pick in the 2025 draft, which occurs later this week, and then 5 second-round picks. A massive, massive trade bringing Houston the go-to score that the Rockets have needed. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube. Let me know what you think of this trade. Was it good for the Rockets? Did the Rockets give up too much? We're also obviously on KHOU 11 Plus. Again, breaking down the trade between the Rockets and Suns. Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, a 2025 number 10 overall pick and 5 second-round picks to the Suns for Kevin Durant. I see a number of people. Jose is on here on YouTube and Facebook. Bertha is watching. April, Lisa Ann. Let me know what you're thinking about this trade. Here's the thing. I think when you look at this trade, first you have to think about what the Rockets still have, what they did not trade. You still have Alperen Şengün. You still have Amen Thompson. You still have Jabari Smith Jr. You still have Reed Shepherd, Cam Whitmore, Tari Eason. And the list goes on and on and on. Kevin Durant is a superstar, one of the greatest of all time. Does he have a superstar personality? Based on reporting in the past, yes, he is a superstar, but he's not one of these guys that I think is, based on the reporting and reading, that he's not one of these guys that is going to ruin chemistry, that it's not going to be all about him. He is a facilitator, which I think is important because you do have this young core. And yes, Jalen Green is gone, but when you look at what Kevin Durant offers, and I heard this on the way in, PJ Carlissimo from ESPN, talking about a guy, even at Kevin Durant's advanced age, he's 50, 40, and 90. 50, 40, 90. What does that mean? 50% field goal percentage, shoots 50% from the floor. He shoots 40% from three, and he's a 90% free throw shooter. Now, he wasn't 90% this year. I looked it up. He was 83%. How many guys on the Rockets can do that? The big thing with the Rockets is when the Rockets have needed a bucket, you never knew who was going to step up, who was going to provide that much needed or must get basket. Obviously, we chronicled what Jalen Green went through in the playoff series against Golden State. But Kevin Durant can beat you in so many different ways. Mid-range, off the dribble, from the outside. Few players can match up with him. And that is why he is such a unique talent. And really what the Rockets sorely, sorely need is a guy that you can count on to get the bucket you need when you need it the most. Certainly Kevin Durant is 36. Some recent injuries. Last year he played 62 games. So age and durability are clearly one of the biggest issues when it comes to Kevin Durant. Now, do the Rockets need Kevin Durant to play 82 games? I don't think so. I don't think they do. I think they'd be happy with 60 to 65 games of Kevin Durant and then have him ready to go when it matters the most. The Rockets won 52 games this year, as we all know. They were second in the West, in a very deep Western Conference. Is Kevin Durant a shutdown defender? No, but that's all right. You've got other guys who can do that. And when you look at, again, what the Rockets were able to keep here, Alperen Şengün, Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason, Reed Shepherd. So when you look at this starting lineup projected for next year or next season, the draft picks. Here's what also the Rockets did not give up. Through an earlier trade last year, they have the Suns' 2027 first-round pick and the Suns, or the rights to the Suns' 2029 first-round draft pick. With Kevin Durant gone, the Suns may be rebuilding, or likely rebuilding. Those first-round draft picks could be very high draft picks, or they're capital for maybe another move you want to make. The number 10 overall pick in this upcoming draft, yeah, it's nice to have. But think of your draft pick last year or last season. He barely played on this team. Didn't play at all, really. And I guarantee you Reed Shepherd is a better prospect than any player you would draft at number 10 overall in 2025. So, in all likelihood, you weren't going to get anything out of your number 10 overall pick in 2025 anyhow. Let's see what people are saying here. Again, we're looking at your comments here on Facebook and YouTube. Kevin Durant is at a sports memorabilia festival called Fanatics Fest in New York City, and he was on stage doing a Q&A when the trade went down, according to some of the videos circulating on social media. I think his reaction was, we'll see, we'll see. The league year starts July 6th. At least that's when it starts July 1st, but there's a moratorium on releasing trades and free agent signings. Certainly some sort of announcement will have to happen for the draft, because now the Suns will be acquiring the first pick from the Rockets, the Rockets' first selection in the draft, which is 10th overall. But let us know what you think of the deal. Kevin Durant has one more year on his current contract. That's $54 million a season. In all likelihood, you would think that he'd be getting another contract from the Rockets. And for those people who think that maybe the Rockets overpaid, I think we've laid out some reasons why you could argue they didn't. Dillon Brooks certainly brought a mentality to Houston on the defensive end and in the locker room. And sometimes those are hard to put a price on. But it's possible that you could find not necessarily Dillon Brooks, but Dillon Brooks light on the trade market or somewhere else. Free agency. Here's what the Rockets also have in their back pocket. They have one of the most respected head coaches in the league, a guy that pretty much every player in the NBA would want to play for, who also has a past relationship with Kevin Durant, having worked with Kevin in Brooklyn when Ime was an assistant there, and also from what I've read on Team USA. So bringing in Kevin Durant, you don't think guys will want to be a part of a Kevin Durant-led team with Alperen Şengün, Jabari Smith Jr., Amen Thompson? Really, Amen Thompson should probably be the first guy right under Kevin Durant. Also worth mentioning that Kevin Durant at 36, he'll be 37 during the season. We joke about, or at least the Rockets do, Uncle Jeff Green. Jeff Green was part of the Seattle team that Kevin Durant broke in with. So he and Kevin Durant were teammates way back in 2007, 2008. Clinton says we gave up too much to pay that much 1 year from now. Okay. I disagree. I think when you look at what the Rockets need and what they kept and what they still have, I'm okay with it. Because down the stretch in a lot of games, there was no one to take that shot at the end of games. And again, I go back to this idea of 50, 40, 90. 50% from the floor, 40% from three, and 90% from the free throw line. The Rockets don't have anybody like that. And yes, Kevin Durant is getting up there in age, or some would argue is already up there in age. But if he's not playing 82 games, which I don't believe he will, he can create so many different shots. Amen Thompson is great going inside to the hoop. But from outside, still a work in progress. Same with Alperen Şengün. Reed Sheppard, you think, is going to be a knockdown shooter for these Rockets. Clinton says, sure, they want to come play here, but where's the money to pay them? Oh, they'll find a way. They always do. Donald says way too much. Gregory, very excited that KD is here on Facebook. He's too old. Donald says, Durant is too old, should have just ran it back. I don't know. You were a first-round casualty with the team you have, and yes, one more year of development, but were we that sold on what Jalen Green truly can become? Jalen Green, to his credit, got much better defensively. His traditional statistics, very good. Our friend Jackson Gatlin at the Locked On Rockets podcast did have some research that showed that the Rockets sometimes had better lineups without Jalen Green, which, to be fair, Rockets GM Rafael Stone at the end of the season news conference dismissed that, saying that he can make statistics paint any picture or any story that he'd like to tell. We've got another one that says stupid, stupid, stupid. I believe this is Crystal. Pedro says, no wonder the price of tickets are too high. Family of four can't afford that. Actually, I agree. However, there are games, granted midweek, if you look on some of the secondary markets, last year at least, you could get tickets $18, $19, $20 at times. Now, Kevin Durant back on the team, or being on this team, I should say, that's going to certainly raise the profile for the Rockets a lot more. But really, the Rockets are one of the more affordable entertainment options, I think, for professional sports in the city. And granted, there's only 4 or 5 or 6 of them. Ronnie says, this is a great trade. We've been developing talent. This buys us time. This will buy us time. I'm okay with it as well, Ronnie. I think that Kevin Durant provides you, and granted, I know that certainly when you reach a certain age, players can fall off a cliff, but we're in a different era now, obviously, with these guys and their personal trainers and that kind of thing, that if Kevin Durant gives you 45% from the floor, 35 to 40% from three, and 80 to 90% from the free throw line, I'll take that. I will take that, and I know the Rockets will take that every single day. And I think he's the type of guy that's going to fit in very well with the Rockets. And even with a little bit of a slight decline in Kevin Durant, when you look at what you are seeing from Alpi and Tari and Jabari Smith Jr. and, of course, Amen Thompson, their graph is going like this, and we all know that. Now, certainly you can see a sharp incline. Sometimes guys will level off. I don't know if the Rockets are at that stage right now, but JF Young says, yeah, but he can't guard anyone. Yeah, I think that's where Ime Udoka's style and preaching will, listen, we know that he's not going to be an all NBA defender, but I think you have enough pieces around him that you're going to be okay defensively. That you're going to be more than okay defensively. And listen, when you add Kevin Durant to this type of team, but also to this type of coach, and guys, sometimes when you're in a situation where you get certain types of motivation from a coach, that can sometimes elevate your play. And yes, I know I haven't even looked to see where he is defensively metrics. One of our favorites here saying, I'm stoked. Jabbar saying, let's go. Getting a KD H-Town jersey and new shoes for my birthday in a few months. Way bigger news since we traded a Watson to come in with Stroud. It is funny, and people have mentioned this online, that the Rockets now will have had each of the Oklahoma City's big three from, gosh, how many years ago? Decade now? More than a decade. You will have had Russell Westbrook in a Rockets uniform at one time. You will have James Harden, obviously, in a Rockets uniform at one time, and now Kevin Durant. Pedro said the cheap price tickets probably in the nosebleed sections. Yeah. It's interesting when you look at, and this is the power of AI, I typed into Google Kevin Durant's personality. And it's interesting what spit out. Kevin Durant's personality is often described as complex and evolving, shifting from a quiet, humble player to a more guarded and sensitive individual, particularly in the face of criticism. Early career and perceptions, initially Durant was seen as a quiet, humble player who was courteous to reporters and kind to teammates, described as jovial, humble, and dedicated to benevolence. Some perceived him as the NBA player next door, a relatable and grounded superstar. Over time, Durant's personality has been seen as evolving with increased sensitivity and a tendency to engage in social media arguments. Some find him uncharismatic and humorless, while others acknowledge his desire for attention and praise for his accomplishments. Durant, though, is known for his incredible work ethic and dedication to the game. Sounds like an Ime Udoka player to me. Certainly, the age and the durability are questions, but I will go back to this. He played in 62 games last year for the Phoenix Suns. I think the Rockets are perfectly fine to get anywhere from 60 to 65 games, maybe even high 50s. James says, I think the Rockets are definitely contenders now. A second place team in the West last year, or last season, this season, definitely the numbers were there, but I don't know if people truly thought this team could contend. I think a lot of people, including in this building, thought that the Rockets could go all the way to the Western Conference Finals or be dumped in the first round. Time and time again, when the Rockets needed a big shot, you never know where it was going to come from or if it was going to come at all. Kevin Durant changes that. Pedro says every year they acquire an expensive player, and for years, no championships. Maybe next season will be better. Yes, he is an expensive player, but man, if you look at some of the salaries in sports now in the NBA, one that came up the other day for me, Isaiah Hartenstein, former Rocket, 3 years, $87 million. Thank you for all of your engagement here on Facebook. The Rockets, certainly when they had Chris Paul and James Harden, and unfortunately Chris Paul got hurt, like that was the team. That would have been the team to do it. But you're not really mortgaging the future on this deal at all, because you still have the Suns' 2027 first-round draft pick and a swap for 2029. So if the Suns are cratering or are going to be a not-so-great team, I mean, they missed the playoffs, remember. You're talking potential lottery picks right there. Just to let you know, getting KD is just like the time we got Verlander. I think there are some comparisons that can be made. Certainly. Certainly. Of course, that was an in-season deal, and the Astros were a first-place team, and this was the trade. And listen, Justin Verlander was certainly on his way to the Hall of Fame, but he had not had a good season that year. He had, and it's funny we bring this up because I just reread some of the books from that time, but he had tinkered with a new grip, and he was pitching much better when he got traded to the Astros, so much so that when Verlander got here, some of the Astros analytics people said, hey, we've noticed this pitch is better. Have you changed your grip? And of course, the rest is history. That incredible run that Justin Verlander had in 2017 to finish the season with the Astros. James says, I think people who are mad about this trade are just salty that Jalen Green is gone. Could be. I don't know. There are a lot of numbers out there that support that this team, and again, statistics can tell you any type of story, that this team is better or was better without Jalen Green. To Jalen's credit, he played in all 82 games, I believe, last year and the year before. Got better defensively, and it just seemed though he was consistently inconsistent in big games, and certainly the bias would be the recency bias of what we saw in the playoffs. There's no doubt he can take over games, but can he consistently do that? So we will have much more on the Kevin Durant trade and the reactions from here in Houston, from Phoenix, home of the Suns, a team that is now getting younger. That is all coming up tonight on KHOU 11 Sports Extra. We should be on at 10:30. Sometimes golf or whatever moves us around. But we should be on tonight at 10:30. We'll have complete reaction of the trade. Once again, Kevin Durant to the Rockets, reportedly for Jalen Green. Dylan Brooks, the number 10 overall pick in this week's draft, and 5 second-round picks. It is KD Day in Houston. As always, thank you for engaging with us here on Facebook and YouTube. And as always, we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you tonight on KHOU 11 Sports Extra. Have a good day.